we had.
As soon as they went seven.
Rahubat family, Rahubat
Rahubat.
Moisa. We're back again.
Live and direct.
Sakensa Cambre,
Asaru Tahuti Atum.
your friendly neighborhood Wu-Nuwapu brothers. Alright, let's wait for more people to join.
Share, share, share.
Like.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Master teacher. Right, who's on? Anyone on? Yep. Jason, Mason, Rahubat Musa, Hotep, Hatap, Rahubat, Jason, two Jasons, Spears, Bananu 9, Rahubat, Draco, Rahubat, Check Chaser, Rahubat. Have you caught that check yet? You know what time it is? We sure do. Willie in the house, Rahubat. Holden Jones, Rahubat. Wow, people are already getting straight into the questions.
What?
Remember, we gotta have our cup of tea first.
Yep.
Master teacher. Freedom for the master.
Coming home soon. Coming
Home soon. Coca Brown in the house. Rahubat. Yeah, we always look forward to these sessions too. Arlington in the house. Rahubat family. Master teacher. Freedom for the master. Master teacher. Freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher. Someone says they like Draco. I like your clothes today.
Tawutak. Come on, Tawutak.
Well, I wear the same thing all the time, so it must be Asari you're talking about. Yeah, Asari is the one with the fashion, man. All right, who else is coming on? Me, Clark, Rahubat. Ubura, Rahubat. That's right. But yet, we're still here going strong. Yeah. Okay. Freedom Master Teacher. That's what it comes down to. And you all can help us by spreading Wu-Sabat
Yep.
far and wide. Bring him home now.
Yeah, he's coming home. He's coming home.
Okay, so before we get cracking today, we just want to make sure. I'm going to ask a favor. Let us know how the sound is coming through today. Is everything cool? Is everything clear? Because, you know, we had a few issues before, so we just want to make sure. So say where you're calling from. Where you're chiming from, and then say whether or not the sound is clear today.
Give us a 9 if it's good.
Yep. All right, so let's wait a few moments for that.
They want to see the 9s if it's sounding good. 6 if it's not.
Innit? Okay, like let's see. Let's go into giving you the questions as well, so that we can. Okay, there you go. You can have the. Okay, let me see. Yeah, we're getting 9s today. Great, excellent. That's what we want to hear and see.
Yes.
999. Yeah, Florida in the house. All right. Yep, all 9s. That's a great sign. All right, no issues today.
Yeah.
How can I chant? Okay, let's get to the questions. All right, straight away. Remember. Gosh, it's like someone's ringing in already before we said anything. All right, let's see the first question today. Okay, we've got a caller. Rahubat Femi, where you calling from?
Rahubat.
And what's your
I'm
question,
calling from
please?
Oshawa, Canada.
All right.
Well, but
Yeah,
Greetings,
it's nice
Rahubat.
talking to you guys.
Yeah,
Um, I have a question.
sure.
So recently, I've been listening to a lot of the master teachers videos on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and my question is, I realized like almost all the videos I watched, they refer to him as a pastor, and they also refer to like the organization, I don't know, like the church as the Church of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I also realized that he references the Bible a lot when he's trying to like explain certain things. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just really trying to understand because I remember the last time I asked the question about, reading the Bible,
Mm.
you I think the way you explained it to me was kind of like it's a book of like confusion and all of that. So I was just really trying to understand why he
Right.
focuses like his message directly from the Bible.
Okay. All right. So the first thing you have to recognize is that anything that you're listening to and watching on YouTube, it's
Yeah.
it's over 20 years old,
if not older.
if not older. Yeah.
Yeah,
In fact, it could have been, even be going back to like, yeah, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, right?
Right.
Right. So that's the first thing. So we were taken through different schools,
That's right.
right? And
Yeah.
in order that we will be able to save the world, because people in the world are first introduced to religion when they want to ask questions regarding who they are, where they come from, and all the questions that people need to know. So we were taken through the monotheistic schools of religion, that's Islam, Christianity, Judaism, and then we walked backwards to the Sumerian schools. We dealt with Egyptology, and then finally arriving at what we teach, which he always came to give us, which was wu-nuwapu,
That's right.
or today we say Wu-Sabat. Okay, so in walking through these schools, we had to be submerged in them thoroughly, so that if we're speaking to most people that are in religion, a lot of them haven't taken the time to do in-depth studies or actually live the way of life that they go around trying to recruit people into. So as a Christian, you would go to church, you may listen to a sermon and clap, sing, dance, and go home. And you don't get the opportunity to ask your pastor or the minister or reverend questions to explain and give you information about things that you want to know. So the master teacher, being a master teacher, has a formula, and because we are the new teachers of this new 24,000 year cycle, he had to prepare us so that we can address and deal with anyone on the planet, whether they're coming from a Christian background. And when we were Christians, right, you made a mistake when you said, he said Egyptian, um, what did you say? Something about Christ. It was not Christ, it's Karast.
Yes, yeah.
Karast,
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay.
which is the word that they have taken to make into Christ. And so what he did is we were able to study the Bible, not just in the English translations, but he took us through like the Greek in terms of the New Testament, took us through like the Hebrew when you're dealing with what they call the Torah or the Old Testament, as some people say. And it's the same thing we did when we were going through the School of Islam, where we went through and studied the Quran, and not just in the English but in the Arabic as well. And the same thing when we were studying the Old Testament, the Torah, we went through the Hebrew, and even in Egyptology we were learning the what people call the metuneta or the hieroglyphics. Um, Sumerian we were learning the cuneiform, so that we literally knew what we're talking about. So when we meet or speak to anybody that's still stuck in those what we call the three frogs or the old schools of religion, we are able to converse with them, because you have to meet people where they're at. And because we've walked through that life, we can answer questions. That's why when we say ask us anything, we address questions to do with all of it. Then we also deal with the science, going into the extraterrestrial, going into, most things that people that are in religion, they come across but they don't explain. In terms of like where is God, where is heaven, where are angels, and what does it mean to be born again, where is hell, where all these things we go into and explain the extraterrestrial involvement. You see, so when you're listening to the master, depending on what recording you're listening to, it's one that he was covering a particular school at the time.
Sure.
It just so happens that you've been listening to, it seems, most of the Christian ones. But if you were to look, even in terms of masonry or whatever topic you can think of, Google his name and put that topic in, and you see that you're gonna get a video or something coming up, a recording that delves into that subject in great detail. I don't know if you want to add anything, Asaru.
Thank you very much. Like that, thank you for actually breaking it down to me like that. Like that definitely makes sense because I know sometimes you have guests that are like Muslim, and you're literally able to answer like any questions they have, regardless.
Right.
So yeah, that makes sense. Another question I had, and I promise it's the last question.
Sorry, let me just say one more thing on that before you go. So there's a misconception that when we say to people that these books have expired, right? The Bible, Qurans, and so on, even the holy tablets which the master teacher received, which covered all those religions and brought them to their expiration. When we say that, people say, oh, why do we still quote them and why do we read them? We're not saying that you can't read them, but we have moved on, and what we're in is the hereafter. The hereafter is the latest information, because on our journey we're still being taught and being taken further. So people can read the holy tablets and read the Bible and all of that, but realize you can't be stuck in it. You've got to realize it's a school that you're going to graduate from and move on. It's like you can't go to school and remain in primary school forever. You've got to move on to higher education. And so people can read them and don't misconstrue what we say when we say they have expired. They have expired because we're now in the hereafter, and we focus on part of that, which is the way, actual facts, and the master's secrets. Right? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much again. I'm not sure if I'll phrase this question correctly, but I was just pretty much listening to his tape about the creation story and all of that, and it was kind of like talking about the Elohim and how like they actually grew or created what we now know, starting from creating the heavens. So if the Elohim are like extraterrestrials, does that mean that like they were also created by like a god? Like again, I'm not sure if I'm asking the question
It's fine.
correctly or if you understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, there were. The extraterrestrials, there are many types, different species, and we are extraterrestrials.
That's right.
So it depends on your origin in terms of what type of extraterrestrial you are. Remember, an extraterrestrial can be bacteria or a comet or something that's coming from outside of the planet. So you have us, and we have ancestors known as the Pantharu. Those are our ancestors, and we look like them and they look like us. We are, if you use the word Elohim in the Bible, like that just means these beings. That's what it translates to as it. And then you have to say, well, what beings are we talking about? And as you delve into the different situations and realize, okay, the beings you're talking about in this situation, in this scenario, are the Anunnaki, for example. And then which ones of the Anunnaki? And it might be Enlil, Enki, Anu, Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if we're talking about us, then that's going to be a different set. Then you have hybrids, or like the species that have been grafted and created, such as what people call the greys. There are many different species of greys, and you have also like reptilians, draconians,
mermaids,
so many types of extraterrestrials. So it all depends on the situation and what the reference that you're referring to. But yeah, they have parents. They have some of the extraterrestrials. They just like us. Have parents. They have children, etc., etc.
Okay, so that means something definitely existed here before the quote-unquote Elohim came and recreated it.
Absolutely. When you say create, the word create means to grow. Yes, and that's why the Christians they mistranslate a lot of things, so they make you think that everything is starting in the beginning, as they say, but the word that is being used for say Genesis is Barashit, which is really to refill, reconstruct. You know, it's not the beginning of everything. So as you said, things exist, things pre-exist, and then there are things that are outside of what you're calling existence. And what you're doing is making things and refilling the earth. And the earth is just one planet in one solar system, in one galaxy, in one universe of multiverses, of omniverses. So it all depends on what people, when people say the beginning, they're talking about their beginning, i.e. maybe in their universe or their planet and so on and so forth. So we have to go into the details of, okay, what time period are we talking about? Because they will say the first man is Adam. And it was like, okay, but when you go into the actual language, Adam is not one person. It's Adamites, it's a tribe. That's why he says created he them, you see? Sure. And then he says to multiply and refill the earth. So you have to say when Cain and Abel, who came from Adam and Eve, Cain kills Abel, there's supposed to be only 3 people on the planet at that point. But then Cain is worried that people are going to kill him when he's banished. So you have to say, well, who are these people? So really, that's just 6,000 years ago, that the beginning of their, what we call Adamites. So depending on what someone's calling the beginning, it could be 6,000 years ago, it could be 1,000,000 years ago, 3 million years ago, it could be 1 billion years ago, you see. So the concept of the beginning, people get obsessed with that, thinking they're the only life form in the entire cosmos, which is kind of funny, because there are life forms throughout the multiverses.
I mean, if you go into your Revelation chapter 3, verse 14, it talks about the Amen witnessing the creation of God. So that's also another beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Okay. Definitely did, and this is actually my favorite part of Tuesdays. I'm always looking forward to this.
It's our favorite part of Tuesdays too, because Bob Geldof said we don't like Mondays, right? All right.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. What do? There's like a ping noise that keeps coming up.
It's WhatsApp. It's all the messages, yeah.
You know you can turn off the notifications. Yeah. All right, let's go back to the chat. Remember, you have to hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, please do so. It helps us. You know, the algorithms, they're all based on the likes, the shares, the views, etc. You know, so you can help us by just pushing a few buttons. All right, so let's go back to the chat. You got any questions there that you want to?
I'm just scrolling. I did see something.
All right, let me go from the top and then we'll see. We got another caller.
Yeah, Terry.
Hey Terry, Rahul Bat, Zama.
Rahul Bat.
Rahul Bat, how you doing?
Anuki Kawas, one tap.
Doing my best, my best.
That's all one can do. Yeah. What's your question today? Yeah.
My question is regarding the papa wood, the all expanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I wanted to understand the concept of the expansion.
Okay.
Like, what is it expanding to?
Okay. Have you read the?
How does that?
Sorry, go on.
I was reading the scroll, the papa wood, and I couldn't understand most of the. Now that I've asked these questions, I couldn't understand.
Okay.
One of the verses which were trying to explain this.
Okay.
Then, like, does the expansion have an effect in terms of time and space? Like, as it keeps on expanding, does that affect the way we view time?
Mm-hmm.
Does it also affect the space?
Yeah. So you got the part right, they're all expanding.
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's a good place to start. All right. So let me go this way. So The master teacher, Partner Babyanun, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, explains and teaches us that if you didn't exist, nothing would exist. Yeah, you follow that. So because we have to start from you, from your 0 point reference. So you individually are a universe. Yeah. So because you're the center of everything that is around you,
That's right.
and without you, none of that would exist to you. So first of all, individually, you're a universe. When there are two people together, like myself and Osaru are here, I'm a universe, he's a universe, but because there are two of us, we become, that's a Jewverse, right? So, and then if there were three, it would be Triverse, and we can go to a point where there's so many, we say that's a multiverse. Now, individually, we're expanding because you didn't start off being the size that you are now. Yeah, you started off as a sperm, which looks like a tadpole, right? And then you grew, you were grown. This is what creation is. Your mother grew you and created you in her womb, in darkness, right? And then when you came out, you were a baby, which means you've grown from the tadpole or the sperm into the tadpole looking, which is like a sperm, to become a baby. And then you became a toddler, then you became an adult, and you're growing and still growing to becoming an elder, and then eventually you will go back the other way because you start to act like you're a baby when you start losing all your faculties and you get older, right? So that's showing you one universe expanding. And when you look at multiverses that get to a point where it's too many to count, we say omniverse because it's just too many. Now, I'm expanding, you're expanding, Asaru is expanding, collectively we're all expanding, which becomes the multiverse is expanding, and then the omniverse is expanding. So what we say, you're the all, because the definite article as in the you're the all, yeah? The all expanding. Asar is the all expanding. Together, we're all expanding. And when I say together, I mean everyone, every multiverse, every the omniverse constantly expanding. But as you say, what is it expanding into? Because you have what we call the SMAT circle, which is space, matter, and time. And they work in conjunction and work together, right? They're inseparable.
Yeah.
But they are within what we call ether.
Okay.
So this is where we say 9 ether is what? Tell him, I'm sorry.
All existing gas, elements, and chemicals that exist in and through nature.
Right. And that's the expansion that you're expanding to and beyond, because when you're in 3D, you're limited because there's this duality. So there are beings that are outside what we call time, because time is a belt. What do I mean by that? You know, like when you put a belt around your waist,
Then it circles,
that's what time is. So our time belt is governed by the planet rotating around the sun. That's one time belt. But when you break out of that time belt, you're no longer governed by that time.
That's right.
So there are beings outside of our time belt that exist in a different time belt, which can take in our time belt, let's say 365 days to make 1 year, which is one rotation. In their time belt, that could take 1 trillion years, or it could take 1 billion years. If we're using our time to calculate their rotation, you follow? Because you have bodies that they're going around what we call the Milky Way, or our universe, because there are other universes. You follow?
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about when we're saying ether, because you know you can break the speed of light, but once you're in this dimension, you it's limited, and scientists obviously trying to work out how and what is limiting the speed of light, and that's the ether. But there are ways where you can use something called um, expansion and contraction to be able to,
Yeah, I think I read that part as well.
okay, to break what you're calling the speed of light. But you need to be in a particular type of form, and you need liquid gold, or what people call liquid gold, which is the mafkazat. Yeah, and these are the sciences and the things that Parnabab Yanun is teaching us. Because when you're traveling at warp speed, or when you need to travel outside of our galaxy to another galaxy or intergalactically, you need to be you need to be prepared in a particular way, because there's something called G force, right, which will literally dismantle your atoms that are held together. And how is it held together is because of the different nutation rates that keep you within that that form. So does that answer your question? Does it make sense now or not?
Yes, it does. Thank you
Okay.
so much. At least I now have a better understanding. I think I'll just go back to the scroll and read it again.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. That's what we're all supposed to do. Read and read and read until it makes sense. But like you say, sometimes you might just need a bit of clarification on something. But really, everyone who hasn't read any scrolls from the master teacher yet, that's the first thing you should do. It doesn't matter which one, or listen to him on YouTube. You've got to hear his voice, his tones, read his scrolls, and that will get you on your journey. All right?
Yeah, the master teachers always said read the scrolls at least several times, because like the first time you read it, you may miss certain points. So when you read the second time, you may think,
Exactly.
Yeah, you
I missed
get
that
the
one.
aha
So
moment,
yeah,
and that's known as a DNA explosion. Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it literally has an effect on your DNA and transforms you. All right? Tawad.
I appreciate. I appreciate.
Appreciate love you too. Wadu.
Radu.
Okay, right. Let's go back to the comments, live chat. Um, just read the mind. Quite enjoyed it. Glad you did. The mind is one of those. In fact, that's one of the first scrolls most people should read, because your mind is so important. Your mind governs your thoughts and your actions. So, reading the mind helps you to get rid of that chaos that this system and religion has done to our minds by wrong information, misinformation.
And then your potential
Yeah,
goes hand in hand with that.
that's right. So, hi everyone, nice to be here to learn. Thank you so much. That's Gail Martin. Okay, we got another caller. Rahubat, caller, what's your name, where you're calling from, and what's your question, please?
Rahubat.
Rahubat.
Francis Arno calling from Barbados.
Rahubat.
Rahubat.
Greetings.
My question is that's put into Apophis,
Mm-hmm.
approaching planet Earth.
Oh.
If it does, or if it will affect planet Earth, what should we Nuwapians do or prepare for?
Right. Obviously, we've been taught for many years to prepare and to, obviously, we're not going to give you the full strategy publicly, but really, you should be in the community. You should be studying and coming together in communities, because there are preparations being made for what you're talking about. And
Yes.
so, are you in the community? Are you near any? Because I know
I'm
there's a
in
community.
Barbados, and I'm still searching for members, so to speak. Yeah, so that I can get more knowledge and understanding of exactly what is going on and what I should do. So
Right.
basically, I'm still seeking, I'm still asking, so to speak.
Well, Barbados should have a lot of people because we have, there's a community out there, and even Trinidad as well. So, that's the first step. Get to the family, and you guys as family will prepare together. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
From the holy tablets, the master teachers warned us about the meteorites, and with the updates as well, said there's going to be a meteorite. So
Seven thunders and
so we need to be prepared.
I mean, there are people that are not even Sabians or Nuwapians in Wu-Sabat that are preparing. And you just have to Google and YouTube and you see people that have been preparing with bunkers, storage of food, water, just whatever you need to survive in case that actually takes place. So that's just basic information in terms of preparation.
Okay. I thought it was something where we have to where we could be a moving situation, move from one point to the next. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's part of it. But what I'm saying, you're not gonna know that information if you're not in the right place in the right time.
Yes.
I mean, for years, there've been catastrophes where meteorites have hit this planet in the past. Times with the dinosaurs and other times, with meteorites. 2,250,000 years ago. There have been many times, and those who know and prepare will know where to go. And we've been told and being prepared for these things by the master teacher for a very long time. Anyone who's been reading the scrolls should be aware. And like you say, many people are running to places and saying, I'm going to go here because I'm going to be safe. The reality is you're not going to be safe because we've had updates where we're only going to be safe where the guide and the warner takes us.
Okay, got you.
Do you follow? Okay.
Yeah, I follow.
Right.
So it's imperative that we get the master teacher out.
Absolutely. That's what it's about. It's just getting him out to know and get that guidance. And when we say to people, it's not just about reading the books, because the one thing he has asked us to do is, if he says you have the key, you have the lock, and to free him, we need to be what? Come together in love and in unity.
That's right.
Okay.
And it starts with your heart.
Correct.
Sincerity.
Yeah. So people, if you're really about Wu-Sabat, if you're really about the master teacher, if you're really sincere, you cannot then not unite, because you can't say, I love the master, and he says, right, you'll work together, you'll come together, and then people say, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that. So it's like, start with your heart. Are you sincere? Are you really about helping? Are you about letting the world know about the injustice that's happening with Pana Babyanun, letting the world know about Wu-Sabat, being around family, even if you don't get on. No family gets on with all their siblings and all their, family members. So it's about putting the master first.
That's right. Definitely.
All right.
I got the message.
All right, Zamal, take it and give.
Okay.
Take and give care. Wadu.
Wadu, man.
Wadu. Okay. Just read. Okay, we covered that. Like your clothes, cover that. Hi everyone, nice to be here to learn. Cover that.
Umbara. I don't even know.
Coco Brown. Rahobat, always looking forward to. Okay. Tuesdays and Saturdays with you all. Likewise. It's coming, brother. Rahobat. You guys are always clean. Love the outfits. That's from me, Tawat. Uburo, freedom for the master teacher. Preach. Oh, we don't preach. We teach. Teach and not preach. You have a lot of preachers in this world, and they work up a sweat, and everyone hits tambourines and all that, and then they go home, and nothing changes. So, but yeah, we like to teach. Each one, reach one, and each one, teach one. Claudia McNamara, we love you, Florida. Okay. We got another caller. Rahubat caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your question, please?
Rahubat Mr. Jose Otep, Zambia.
Rahubat Jose.
Rahubat.
How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I only have two questions today,
Okay.
and
Wabe.
it's regarding the genetic case.
Tua.
Okay, the first one is Shakumtat the creator of male, if that is correct, and if you can enlighten us over that story.
Tua. Yeah, so Khamtat is a female, and as you know, all he's and she's come from she.
Yeah.
So she's a female.
Yes.
So yes, she's one of those first beings that, because we always talk about this concept of the beginning or the starting over. So she would be that first female when we're looking at the stories from that our in that new experiment or that new beginning in our Tamarayan information doctrine. So that would be Sakhamtat. Sakham means power. So she's a powerful being. She will be your equivalent to the first. When we say equivalent as well, that's maybe, like in different schools, in different cultures, like for example, we talk about the Ogdoads, right, who came out of the water, originally the beings, because remember that we were seeded by the dolphins, and then those beings came onto land, onto water, and you have like what we call the Ogdoads, which are pairs of what you would call evolutions at different times, where there's new starts or new beginnings. So you have like Nun from the water. That's what Nun means, or when we say Anun. So you had Nun and Nunet. Yeah,
Amun,
there you go.
Amunet,
Yep.
Ket, Kiket, and He, Het.
Yeah. So yeah, Sakamta, if you read the scroll, I think it's the Maguraj. I'm not.
Yeah. El
entirely sure
Mugaraj.
on it. Yeah. You'll get more information.
And it's in here is the Black Book, part 1 and 2.
Yes, it's in the Black Book as well. Yes, but yeah, she represents that first female that we come from. Just like they will say,
Like
Mother Ninti, or Ninki in the Anunnaki stories.
Yeah.
They will tell you that Ninti was the first that took her. She was responsible for the creation.
Or Hawa.
Yeah, Hawa
And when was that
or Eve.
on time?
When was it, as in time?
Yes.
Gosh, I don't have the exact time right now. We would have to look in one of the scrolls. But you're talking about millions of years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But what, like I was just going to say, is that the Adam and Eve that you read about in the Bible, first of all, there is Titi first, and then you have Eve, and you have Eve, they say her name means what? Mother of tribal leader, yeah. No, Nekeba,
yeah.
tribal leader,
Yeah.
which is dealing with that particular tribe. That's why people get confused, because tribal leader is those Adamite tribe, and then the real name, her real name would have been Mother of all living. You get it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah.
Noted.
So there's always a distortion when they teach you, because they have to only go back to where they exist or their beginnings. But yeah, we go back millions of years. It's like, again, when someone talks about the pyramids, for example, because the pyramids are live and they're in Egypt, they actually exist. So because they exist and it's evidence, when you're asked how long ago, when were they built, they will always try and keep it within 6,000 years, knowing quite well that they existed millions of years before. And now some will say 10,000 and 500 years, but yeah, we know that they go back way before that. All right.
Yeah, that's understood. Thanks again.
And tak atira
Moving to the next one. Still on the genetic case.
Yes.
I would like to know when and why today's woman lost the ability to produce sperm at her own
Right.
and give birth for both for genders, male and female.
Okay. They didn't really lose it. They've forgotten how to do it. um,
Can you elaborate on that one?
sure. So they fell in love with their creation.
Creation,
That's
yeah.
really the bottom line.
That's how they lost it.
Um, it's just like when you get given, all right, let's say technology, right? When you get given a smartphone, you get lazy.
That's it.
You start expecting the smartphone to do everything for you. So you don't memorize numbers. So if you were stuck and in a situation, you couldn't call anyone because you can't remember anybody's numbers.
How to use road maps.
Yeah, how to use road maps. We just go and sit in and let the sat nav take us over a cliff, and we just sit there. I'm saying that to say that when the woman, because women secrete many fluids, right? Most of the time, they even when they're just carrying on with normal life, they secrete fluids, and if you look at a fetus or a child when it's an infant, it between like 6 weeks, there is no gender because the original beings, like we were just talking about, these Ogdoads, and they were neutral gender or they were hermaphrodite and hermaphrodites, which mean that a male with a female genital and vice versa, right? So hermaphrodite, her, and he hermaphrodite. So because they had both, they were able to secrete seminal fluid from what you would call today their clitoris. Because when at 6 weeks there's no gender, and then if you're gonna be male, what happens is that the part that we're talking about protrudes and comes out and becomes a penis. If you're female, it goes the other direction and basically redacts and goes smaller and becomes what you're calling a clitoris. So this is biology, so I can use these words, right? So they were able to secrete these liquids into themselves, and the process is called parthenogenesis, right? And if you there's an actual case of it's in our scroll.
Kasha Records.
No,
Sacred Feminine. Is it that one?
no, it is God, male or female.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you can find it, maybe we can look at it. But there's a
What
case.
is it called?
It's God, male or female.
Is God male or female?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you haven't got that, look for that, and it explains and shows you an incident where a woman, we're trying to find it. I saw I was looking for it, where she was able to have twins by herself, and this is what they term the virgin birth, or the whole Virgin Mary immaculate conception, and in that scroll, and I know what they do in when they try to hide these things. There was these articles that they wrote to say, oh, it's fake news. So when you Google it and try and research this, and we're trying to see if we can find the scroll, so I can give you the woman's name and the whole situation, because doctors that obviously are aware of it, they also confirm that. But yeah, so to go back to your original question, the Bathalon gland, if I'm saying that properly, it's something that you can also research. But yeah, there are incidents where women have had what they're calling the immaculate conception, which is, remember that the Y chromosome comes from the Y chromosome comes from the X. So females are XX and males are, yeah, you got it right, perfect. Or XY. So the Y is the stem, the bottom right hand stem of the X has actually been maimed. So when you
It's actually the foundation of my question, because I always thought
is it
that
that one? Okay,
the
maybe
male
it's the
being why that was the reason why a woman could conceive a male child.
yes,
But now, studying the genetic case today, actually,
yeah,
is when I figured that a woman can
yeah, that's it.
also
That's the one.
produce a male at her own. And afterwards, I've noticed that at the same time, today's women are unable because it speaks, the book speaks on the past tense.
Mm.
So it means that today's woman, it's not able, but you already explained that female fell in love with the creation.
Right.
That's
So because of the the patriarch system of dominating the woman, you know, everything, because what it is the testosterone that developed more in the man. This is why I was saying about becoming lazy with the muscles and everything in the man. The woman started to rely on the man to do like the heavy lifting and certain things, and so eventually they kind of like forgot about who they really are as the goddesses and their abilities, and so now it's gone full circle to the point where, you know, they now have to remember who they are. But in this scroll, sorry, do you want to do it? You want to read it? Yeah. So yeah, in the scroll, it was actually the Gospel of Yanun on the sacred feminine, the lotus of life. Yeah, that one there. That.
we can't find that book.
I know. You can find it. You just gotta keep trying. You can find anything you want, but but don't worry, we will be getting it back.
Mind over matter.
Yeah. So in the scroll on
Page 24.
well, I was gonna say from page 23, it shows you that diagram, what that explains what I was saying, that undifferentiated at 6 weeks gestation, where you don't tell, and then it's an excellent diagram. It shows you the two processes in terms of becoming male and one becoming female. And then yeah, go ahead, Asaru.
And then the female's name.
Come closer to the mic. I don't think they can see it. Let me move the mic out of the way.
She's a Philippine. Her name is Joseph Maria Garcia. A 19-year-old born.
And then he dropped the whole shit. Yeah.
So basically, hermaphrodite impregnated herself and gave birth to hermaphrodite twins.
It's a quite recent story, né? It's a modern story, that one.
Yes, that's why we're referencing it.
Okay. I'll check it out. Thanks.
All right. Okay. Anything else, or is that it?
No, that's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate love, Sake Nasaro, and by the way, OSM Vision, congratulations on.
Oh, the 100K. Yeah. We got a party. Don't worry. We're going to party for that one. Yeah. Next stop is 1 million.
Yeah.
With all your help. Yeah. Look out for that documentary. Go and like it from now. Share it. All right. Wadu.
When the mic is like that, it's perfect.
Like this, yeah?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. So, sorry, you're going to have to come closer. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Right. Let's get back to the chat. Gosh. Wow, there's a lot in just that few minutes. There's so much questions now. Let's see. Can go back to where I was. We love Florida. Okay, cool. So will there be a lot of natural disasters like earthquake, tsunami, volcano eruption as from the year 2030? It's gonna be before that. That one there.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we didn't. But yeah, there will be
Yeah.
earthquakes. You've been seeing it happening anyway. So yeah, there will be. Not from 2030. They're happening from now.
But this is also because of the planet Earth is tilting back into its original position, because it was on a 23-degree axis.
That's
so now
right.
it's going back. So there's going to be floods in places where there wasn't floods, volcano, tornadoes, all of the above. But the master teachers already warned us about these things.
And that's why it's important for us to come together, and why we must unite.
That's right.
Because there's strength and power in numbers. All right. Loving the new mic and sound quality. Great. All right. What's next? Virgin Island, Rahubat, Musa, much as shook and peace, each one reach one and teach one, 100%. Lidu Ramstat, blessings, wise ones. Thank you, Rahubat. Okay. Batum Mile, Saliki,
if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Wu-Sabat, to me from South Africa. I would like to get clarity on the issues of eyes. Some eyes are blue, some brown, some are green, and what is different about such people? Again, that is it in that same scroll? But yeah, but basically, when you're looking at eyes, they have so much. You're looking at solar panels, and they reflect light. Some absorb light, and when you look at like the blue eyes, that's because of the vibration, the fastest moving. So when you look at the color spectrum, right? This is a good way of looking at it. You have different vibrations, and they relate to the colors. So the lower vibrations, like you look at red. Red is a low vibration, and then as you move up, you get to the highest being like violet, and in between you'll have the other colors. So it relates to genetics, obviously, because the dark and the brown eyes are relating to the melanin. Everything has melanin, and the lesser melanin you have, the weaker the genes. And so when you look at certain eyes, I think it's 21 plus 21, that one, 37 mitochondrial DNA, yeah. 37 genes of the mitochondrial DNA. Yeah, because there are some beings that have also mixed with animals. Yeah. So you can see, like, and in that scroll, we're trying to find it, yeah, I think that's it there. The master shows you how genetically eyes are related to, like, for example, dogs and wolves, and yeah, that's the one right there. Gosh, that looks disturbing. But yeah, the scroll, hold up the scroll for the brothers and sisters to see. So yeah, this scroll here is called 18 plus 1, 37 genes of the mitochondrial DNA. And all the scrolls you hear us reference are from Partner Babyanun, Dr. Malachi Z. York. But yeah, that scroll, Asara will find the page. If you haven't got that, that's another one to get in your library that goes into the mixtures, and you can compare and see the traits of beings with certain color eyes. And when you see those gray eyes with the little dots, he's on the page as I said it. Those are your Pleiadians, right? So again, it's going back to your question. It's all, related to your DNA, and your eyes are supposed to be the windows to your soul. Yeah. So if you don't have no soul, you can look at a person's eyes, look at people in the eye. Most people don't look at you in the eye when they speak, and that's because it's very telling if there is a soul. There you go, look at that. Now you've got Nagarus that have mixed their DNA and genetics and having blue eyes and blonde hair and stuff. All right.
And Asta.
Yeah. So the albino is the recessive in melanin, meaning that you don't produce as much melanin, so you can't take heat. You can't look into like the sun because it will affect you. All right. So I hope that's giving you some.
What did it say? Children born with melanin recessive eyes, a total absence of color.
Come to the mic. Yeah. Yeah, go and read a bit more.
So it says children born with melanin recessive eyes, a total absence of color in the eyes. The second layer of the iris that is only appears to be bluish because the light is shattering.
Mm-hmm. Is anything on the next page?
I'm just talking about the albino, canon, milky, leprosy.
Yeah, but yeah, that scroll goes into the different color eyes, and go to the page that shows the canine, and so I can
got this one, yeah. Genetic case.
Go. You had to, innit? Let me see the other page. But yeah, this scroll is very.
You need this one. This is the one that's needed, man. All them people kissing up dogs and all that. So no.
Yeah,
no,
you
no.
do share DNA, so yeah, there
Oh,
you
this
go.
one here.
Right, that's the one. Right. On this page, as you can see, this is showing you, you know, if you look at the eyes, yeah, it's a humanoid but common in dogs, particularly the Alaskan Husky, a descendant of the wolf. You see? So you can look at the dogs, look at the eyes, you can see the genetics.
Canine.
Porcine and simian.
Yeah.
All right. I hope that's answered that. We've got so many questions. We're going to have to speed through these. Is the Canaan seed Dr. York referred to in the scroll? What is Nuwapu? Albino, Africans, or Yeti people, or is he referring to any albino, any race people? I also just learned there are albinos in ever. Yeah, albinoism is in every race. So we were just actually looking at that in that scroll. Yeah, so albino is when you just a lack of melanin.
Melanin recessive.
Melanin recessive. So, but obviously that then in the Adamites or in the Canaanites, that went into them being cursed as well with leprosy. So it's the leprosy that actually makes things worse. But
that's why they call Caucasians
Caucus
Asians.
Asian. Yeah. So albinoism can be in any race, but it's just that you know you can get skin cancer and you can get so many different things when you add it with leprosy. Is that all cool? Okay. Okay, so next, Rahubat, is the Jack and the Beanstalk story an ancient event? Does it have any spiritual significance?
Then they're taking the big blood.
That might have a significant impact in human history? Is there an underlying message? Yeah, of course. There's always distortions, but you can see how that story relates. In fact, there's a part of that called the monkey.
Monkey in the tree.
The monkey and the tree, that we've got. That you should read that. That is actually the true version of this story, and it kind of ties into that whole Tower of Babel and trying to reach God. But the reality is that that's not what was happening. So you can take a story that, you know, like they were building an antenna to communicate by way of, even though it was really about the language, right? So there's a part of that called speaking of tongues that goes into this. It was about the language because they wanted to basically block the frequencies that were coming down from the Anunnaki, from Nibiru, to control them. But what I'm saying is that story then became they're trying to go to heaven by climbing or building a like how can you build a building to go to heaven? You know, so we're just saying that similarly these stories do have some original underlying truths, but they get distorted and then made into, you know, myths or six ether concoctions of stories. But yeah, it's like, again, another one that can relate to that is dealing with Jacob's ladder, for example. And when you start to break things down, sometimes things are allegorical, sometimes things are symbolic, sometimes things are actual true events that have been distorted. So first of all, you have to look at which one of those is it, right? So yeah, so that the Jacob's ladder is obviously climbing what people now call the Kundalini, which is dealing with that double helix, dealing with your spinal column and those chakras that you have to climb to get to your pineal gland to activate it, open your third eye, etc., etc. All right, let's move on. Brusca noise. Rahubat brothers, what is the term Islam civics?
Mm.
I think I'm not sure if that's Slavics, but if you're saying Islam civics, you have to give us a reference. Where's that coming from?
Yeah.
I've heard perhaps from an unreliable source that Islam civics was being practiced before the establishment of the religion Islam.
How can Islam
But
physics?
yeah, the
be-
question is a bit confusing, but we know the origins of Islam, and we know that Islam's quite young, and Islam comes from things from prior to Islam. Like most of what you get in Islam is coming from the New Testament, as well as some from the Old Testament. But you have to be a bit more clear because the question is not very clear. So
all your prayer positions in Islam can be found on the walls in Egypt.
yeah, but it's like what's the point of, because we're not dealing with Islam or religion now in terms of, we're saying that's not really going to help us in this day and time. So it's all about Wu-Sabat.
Right.
But I noticed, I'm not saying you're doing this, but a lot of people always sneak religious questions in to take us back into religion and into the spell of sleep or six ether. So sometimes it may be innocent and people are trying to find out something about Islam, Christianity, etc. But what we're saying is you really need to focus on Wu-Sabat.
Yeah, Wu-Sabat predates Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. All
By
of those religions
millions
came out
of
there.
years.
Yep.
Okay, next one. Azorinum Visions. Rahubat, my people. Does the master teacher go to all other galaxies teaching what he teaches here? I may have a follow-up depending on the answer. Absolutely. It's not that he goes there, but when he teaches, everyone is listening because he's the master teacher. He's Yanun. So yeah, he does teach others. You say you have a follow-up question, so I guess you're gonna text back your follow-up question. And that's such an important point though, because a lot of humans take it for granted who is amongst us, who is in our presence, who has been sent to us. You're dealing with a being that we know as the master of the heavens and earth.
Right.
But yeah, we'll wait for your follow-up. Rahubat, how do Sabians pick spouses? Well, we have very strict rules. If you read that scroll we mentioned, the Gospel of Yanun on the Sacred Feminine, if you read sexual commandments and violations of Nuwapu, again, we'll try and find it. If you read the 33, grab that for me please. If you read the 33 commandments of Sabians, that's this scroll here. If you read this, all of this, trying to hold it the right way around. Yeah, all of this gives you guidelines of how you should choose a spouse. The Gospel of Yanun is one of the most important scrolls to have in this day and time. Genetic kiss, of course, definitely, because what are you choosing your spouse for at the end of the day? Because we don't have boyfriends and girlfriends, so if it's not something that, as in the young people coming up, obviously, the elders have already been involved with the pleasure palace, so we got to work to clean ourselves inside out. But there are strict rules because, you know, in our culture, you can have more than one spouse. So things like that, there are strict rules where the first mate is involved and has to choose the second one. And it's something that is discussed, and there's, you know, the genetics are involved.
Multiple soulmates, you said?
No, sexual violations. It's got the red title. You should see if it's there. But yeah, so anyway, I've given you quite a number of scrolls to to look at. So let me go through them again. The Gospel of Yanun on the Sacred Feminine, the Lotus of Life, 1. 2, Genetic Kiss. 3, the 33 Commandments of Sabians. And then, oh yeah, you got the 30 Spirits as well. You've got I'm trying to get that one because I can't remember the exact title, but it's something like sexual violations. No, can't find it. We'll post it. We'll post it in the Telegram group, or maybe somebody will post it in the chat. I may not have it with me right now. So yeah, those will help you in terms of that subject of how to choose a spouse. All right. Blunt D Clouds, can you shed some light on the Sophia Christ figure and Abraxas figure if you've heard of them? Yeah, I think I have heard, but really that's not, you have to go and ask them really about that, because we try to answer questions and stick within Wu-Sabat. But if you want to rephrase your question or elaborate, because again, that's the one. Yeah, it's called Wu-Nuwapu Commandments on Sexual Violations. Yeah, that's the Patarak I'm talking about. All right, that goes into the question you were asking. Yeah. So what's next? Yeah, like I said, we don't really try to get distracted and go into this, because like I said, people always sneak these questions in. That brings back Christ and religion. Yeah, they're basically trying to come up with the divine feminine that's a counterpart of Jesus and all this kind of stuff. It's just a spell remixed, another bootleg. So yeah, we don't really want to. What was the other part? He said about Abraxas. What's Abraxas? Where is it? I've lost the question. You have to ask them to provide the facts and the evidence. Yeah, appreciate love. We keep her for your donation. I see you don't really have a question, but yeah, we want to say a shuk to you, divine love, for your showing your kindness. Tawat. Thanks. Okay, what's the next question? Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
you finding some questions?
Yeah.
That was the last one. Was something that Abraxas, Sophia Christ thing. But when you look at the image as well of Sophia, it's just a remix of the spell with a Caucasian female that they're saying is the counterpart of Christ. Yeah, but we're not falling for it, not in this day and time.
No, with Wu-Sabat, man.
Travis just asked, is there a problem with the sound? When we got bare nines before, so
Mic check.
I think the sound is fine. It might be on your side.
Yeah.
So check your mic and stuff. Where are we? Okay. Moonstar readings. I can hardly hear you. Would love to listen maybe next time. King.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's your end, people.
Yeah, we got the majority saying it's fine and it's clear. So
we've already been given the nines, man. So we're good.
Cat Lazio Rahubat, may you please explain what exactly is destiny and how does it work? Thank you. Okay. Listen to the word destiny. Destination. Destiny is when you arrive, because if you think of a destination, it doesn't exist until you get there.
That's right.
So when people say destiny, they're like trying to say there's something in the future, what they call the future, that's going to happen. But how do you know until you get there?
Until confirmed.
Yeah. So Yeah, destiny is when you arrive, and although people think of time as in starting and moving forward, it spirals. It's not a straight line. Excuse me. We spoke earlier on about the time belt, and it's a spiral. And I give the example of a winding staircase. If you imagine a really high building with a winding staircase, the first step you take is there. And when you get to, say, the second, third floor, you've now moved up, but you can still see the first step. So they're all the steps are existing at the same time. Just depends on where you are. So you could go back down to the first floor and go back up and then go, let's say you were on floor 5 from floor 1, and you could go back to 3 and you can go back to 6. So time works in that way, in that every step you're taking is the step you're on that is now. So the time is always now, but you have multiple thens in the past, which would be all the stairs or the steps that you took before you got to the now step that you're on. And then if you carried on going to the top upwards, those are now multiple thens that you haven't got to yet. You follow me? So the step or the step you're on is now, but you came through many thens with the stairs that came before where you are, and then the stairs that are going up that you haven't got to yet are also thens. When you get there, they become now, because every moment is what matters. Because every time you say now, it's no longer the now that you said previously. So when you're saying what is destiny, in Wu-Sabat, we deal with fate, F-A-T-E, not faith. Because that destiny that people are talking about is the religious concept of faith. Like, believe that Jesus is going to come and save you, or believe this is going to happen, believe that's going to happen, which is based on belief. But belief is the acceptance of things you cannot prove or that you do not know.
That's right.
So belief can believe anything, whereas fate, F-A-T-E, is you make what you want to happen by the actions that you take. So if you want to clean yourself inside out, you got to stop doing the things that are going to make your internal organs damaged. Like, if you want to stop drinking alcohol, if you want to stop smoking cigarettes, if you want to stop eating bad foods, you've got to make that decision, and you've got to take the actions or the steps to make it a reality for you. So then in the future, you look at people who were caught up in those habits and they don't look healthy. But you that change your course of action or your direction, you look healthy and you look well, because as you age, because you basically mapped out your fate. All right. So we know, as in our culture, our way of life is Wu-Sabat. That's what's going to give you the best outcome in every way, shape, or form. All right. So who asked that question? Kat Lazio, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. All right. Cool. Right. Next question. Where am I? Sarah, I thought you were following me now.
Did the Black Barbie Queen, was it? You heard that
the
one?
last one I done was Cat. So if you know where that is, I've lost it.
Just curious in your
If
take
you're
on
following,
the so-called civilization of Mu and...
Okay, I think I've...
You that one? No.
Yeah, because we're trying not to miss anyone out. Oh, you know what? It looks like more questions come and go on top, innit? Because every time I go back up, I see questions that... Okay, where are we? Okay, there you go. I'm back. Yeah, how did I miss Blunt? No, we did. That was the Sophia Christ thing. Okay. Travis, is there a problem? No, we covered that. Oh, here we go. I'm back to where I was. Right. I'm here. So if you can keep up with me in case I lose track again. Right. Next one is Courtney. Courtney Guy. My sister the other day said the seen me and that I was green. That I looked like one of the women on the scroll, number 144, women who changed the course of history. Okay, there's no question there. Yeah, women can shapeshift and change, and you know, you guys are extraterrestrials and you're goddesses, and you can transform, especially during your monthly cycles, because you renew and yeah, or when you're pregnant and you know things like that. But yeah, I'm not saying you are. I'm just giving because you didn't ask a question. So remember, originally we were green anyway. So and a lot of children are born with the green patches and green spots. So all right, let's move on. Tuambo Terry, yeah. Was trying to get the cultural attire on the shop, but it's been out of stock for some time. We got some in stock. Come into the. You just read my mind. Come into the store. Yeah. The websites are not always up to date because they have to be updated. So, oh yeah, that just prompts me as well. We got 3 proverbs of Yanun currently available. So if you haven't got that scroll, here's your opportunity, and it's not on the website yet. So yeah, so we've got those. But yeah, we have got some attires. So. If you're not, you may be abroad, right? But if you're not abroad, yeah, contact and send your. There's a phone number at the bottom of the website. You can send a message or give us your sizes and so on and so forth if you're not in the country, so we can we can arrange something. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Okay.
Sam Spring, you were there?
Yeah. The key for us is to remember our ancestor and start talking to them.
That's right.
That's right. Yep, you got to open that doorway and connect with them.
Just hold it like that to the mic.
Okay. Yeah. Rahubat, caller.
Rahubat again.
Rahubat.
Sorry, it's Sean again from London.
Oh, Rahubat, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Always looking forward to, the Tuesday live sessions.
Tour.
Yeah, I just want to first of all just start by saying thank you to you guys, man. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you guys' work and everything that you do to try and raise the consciousness level and the vibration of our people. And I just wanted to start with that firstly. And
but you got to thank the master.
Yeah, we won't be here if we weren't for the master teacher, man.
Thank the master, because without him we won't be here. Yeah.
That's the thing, because I've only just come across Wu-Sabat within the past few months. So
okay.
It was actually from, because I've always had questions since the beginning, raised, as a Christian, gone to church, never really resonated with me. But I say within the most recent years, I think Billy Carson kicked some stuff off, putting out some information when he was discerning the Bible and everything like that. And then that kind of created a shift within me. And then the second shift occurred when I saw a video of you, Saken, and when you were kind of breaking things down. And that was like, for me, that was the whole DNA explosion. That was like, so I first came across you, and then when you spoke about the master teacher, I had to go back and listen to the tapes. And then I listened to the tapes, and then the whole thing that you were talking about, the 3 tones in one, and how he's able to break things down. And it was just like, I've only come across Wu-Sabat for, I think it's been like literally 3 months, but the master teacher, I feel like I've known him for
eternity,
prior to even incarnate, and I feel like there's some kind of connection, and I've not had that with anyone, you know. And it's like this guy's locked up, man, and it's sad. It's sad. It's like, you know, they got together. If they were able to get together and free Mandela, we could get together and free him, and he's done 20x works for Mandela. But no disrespect to him, that's our brother too.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
But it's just I never knew this person existed. I never knew like Dr. Malachi Z. York. I didn't know of this person. We've heard of Malcolm X. We've heard of Dr. King. We've heard of Marcus Garvey. We've heard of all these people, but I've only just come across this guy about 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
So I'm shocked, and it's just like the everything that he's breaking down and how we've been removed. We've been detached from our ways and been this stuff that I've been saying since the beginning, but I've never known the research. I've always said we've been removed from our ancestors. I've always said to my brothers, like, these religions, they're not for us. But I've never known how to explain it and present to them the information that can help liberate them. It's just something I've always felt within me. So it's like, I just wanted to add on to the point of, like, when you say, like when you look at the three frogs and how that has been utilized to take us away from our original ways, and you know how the mental damage that is caused over the years, it's even unbeknown to ourselves, and we kind of just accept it. And they put out all these images, and they've taken Papa and reduced it to a man with a beard.
It's true.
Real talk, man.
Real talk.
Mentally, it's crazy, and we pray, and then unbeknown to us when we're praying, because you know anything that you try to bring into existence, it starts off as a thought, and then you take action, and things can manifest. So if we're praying, it's kind of the same thing. It starts off starts off mentally, and then, you know, if you're picturing something, you're picturing a man with a beard. I know I did. I know I pictured Jesus, a white Jesus, and not on anything. Not on anything like on a racist kind of tip.
No, it's the reality. That's what happened. Most people did. Yeah.
And it's like that level of mental damage that we've been subjected to our whole lives. It's just crazy. It's just, and then now I'm learning that, whoa, wait a minute, what, we have ancestors that we can connect to. I'm like, we have these beings that are, you know, that reside outside of, as you say, people, places, and things that are more powerful and that are connected to us, and who are the overseers, and we can connect with them. No way. No way. But you're telling me, wait a minute. So I've been calling on this person with a grey beard, my whole life, and I would have had a better outcome just connecting with my grandma and grandpa.
There you go.
And it's like, I'm like, what? It's just DNA explosions all over the place. There's just, Thank you guys. Anyway,
no problem.
Thank you so much. Honestly, there's so much work to be done. There's so much more to do. This is only the beginning. Well, for me personally, this is like, my heart's racing. I'm ready to go.
Well, come see us. Come link us up. In fact, what you said, I just let you speak because sometimes people need to hear that, and I see that as a separate video by itself already. But in reality, like you said, it was by design. So you didn't get to know who this being is. So you didn't connect with him, and unfortunately, the damage that has been done by hearsay and rumors and all of that online, they were hoping that would be the end of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, but no, like, it's even more powerful now. Like you say, with Mandela and all of that, it's like the whole world had to get behind the injustice, so this is what we need right now, because truth is truth, and he needs to be exonerated, and he needs to be free now. And if people really connect with that being, the love that, like you say, that DNA explosion that you get, that love that you get, and he's just telling the truth. about everybody and everyone. And at the end of the day, you know, truth is truth. He's not trying to hurt no one, or like where people are getting upset because things that they've held on to for years are just being like exposed. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's get together, let's work and do what we have to do to get him out of there now. Time is now. We've got to do it now.
True.
But yeah, I appreciate your call, man.
Just one more question.
Sure.
Just regarding our ancestors. It might sound like a bit of a dumb question because I know I'm still on my journey, but like when you say that they created nature, that's some powerful stuff. Like how's that occur? Because that's like
I know what you mean.
Yeah, like it's a bit mad to get my head around it because when I'm picturing it, have you ever watched Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. So when I'm picturing it, you know, they those stories they take from us anyway. So it's like in my head, I'm like, is it like are they creating like a spirit bomb within? Like, is it like, and then he's got like Goku's got his hands out, and then he's like, whoosh, and then there's this energetic field called Earth. Do you know what I mean? And then over time it solidifies, and then they go are they creating it within people, places, and things, or outside of people, places, and things? Is it a mental manifestation into a physical from outside within? Like, do you know what I mean?
I got you, man. Basically, do you remember the movie The Matrix?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Neo and what's his name? Morpheus. When they went into that chamber and they were like doing the kung fu.
yeah. But he's trying to download the information.
Yeah, and then he said to him,
"Do you think that's air?
Do you think that's air you're breathing?" Yeah, and then he's like, "Do you think that's blood?" You know, like, because it was a construct. And when you start looking at the planet and looking at the three-dimensional world and looking at it as fractals and looking at yourself as a being that exists in multiple dimensions at the same time, and when you're looking at, although to us the planet might look like it's really big, but when you zoom out into the cosmos, this planet is tiny. It's like a pebble of a grain of sand. You get it? And then when you zoom in and go really zoom to the ground and look at the ant kingdom and the ant world and look at beings that are tiny compared to us, and you look at that and you're thinking, wow, like there's a whole world that you can step on and just ruin their whole community, but you don't even realize it, and you're walking. This is why that whole thing in the Bible about thou shalt not kill doesn't make sense, because you might be stepping on, micro bacteria. So I'm saying, you can't help it, isn't it? But I'm saying when you zoom out and look, they look at our planet as a tiny little pebble, and they can create what we're calling, planets, galaxies, universes, because they're definitely elemental or pure energy beings. And when you start to deal with energy and deal with like quantum, this is why all the movies like, Doctor Strange was dealing with the multiverse. You've got Ant-Man, they're dealing with the multiverse. Everyone now is starting to talk and deal with the multiverse, because it just shows you the levels of different types of existences and different, so they're just so advanced, like they're really outside of what we call, we only use 10% or less of our brains anyway. So they are actually those beings. Like, you have to read a part of that called I Was There, Which Is Here.
Okay, I Was There, Which Is Here.
Yeah, that will help you to kind of like put things into perspective, and the all expanding, that one as well.
Okay, and our goal, is it to eventually get to their level?
Yes, you're already a supreme being, but like you're saying, the dumbing down and cutting you off from your ancestors and literally just setting you off in the wrong direction, hoping that you will never wake up, so that your soul will be taken, because you see, your soul is the key to allow you to reach these higher dimensions and to transform to becoming one of those beings as a pure etheric or pure energy being. Yeah, so you have the ability, and that's why Partner Babylon is here. He's here to teach you how to do that and how not to come back, so you don't keep reincarnating. You know, originally we didn't have to do that, but these they've tripped us up, and now we're caught up in a cycle of repeating over and over again. Originally, it was only 24 times you had to, but then it's now 24,000. So, you got so many chances to try and get it right.
No, it makes sense, and everything you guys say, it's just like everything just makes 100% sense. It just, and then the thing that you said, Saken, about having to clean ourselves inside and out. Like me, I'm a stubborn person. I've got a lot of work to do. You know, junk food and whatnot.
Yeah, we all have. Trust me.
But it makes sense, because it's like, in order for them, for our ancestors, because they I feel they operate, or they would like to operate through us.
That's right.
And in order for them to operate through us, the temple has to be clean. Like
100%. That's right.
Clear. So it's like we probably are receiving information, but
you're not picking it up. Yeah, that's right. You're in the wrong channel. Yeah.
Exactly. So all of that, it makes perfect sense. But thank you so much.
No problem. Antakatiar for us. Na uchakal zaman. Tuwa. All right.
So next week. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah. Come and check us in real life.
Yeah.
All right.
I will do.
All right.
I will do.
No problem.
Right.
Take care.
Right.
Wadu. Yeah, it's beautiful to hear that, you know. Those are the types of things that the master wants to hear as well. How, you know, he's having an impact on people with the affirmation. Okay. No BS. Top 5 comparable. All right, you want me to eat this mic, innit? Just curious. Yeah, just curious, what is your take on the so-called civilizations of Mu and Lemuria, which were supposedly located in Asia Pacific, stretching all the way to Madagascar, that sank at around... Yeah, the master teacher has written the book called Atlantis.
Atlantis. Answer days.
Yeah, we've got, he's already broken all this down, so it's not a matter of what is our take. What we get is the actual facts from the master teacher that breaks it all down. So that's why we keep telling everyone, the master just doesn't write books for the sake of writing books. He writes books to answer people's questions. And that's why we are waiting for those minds, those people that can ask a question that has not yet been answered, or that we don't have a book on, because he would then answer those questions for us. And that shows how we're elevating and how we're progressing. Yeah, so get that, those scrolls we mentioned. But yeah, it was a time that existed way before. And remember, the master teacher is the reincarnation of Tahuti, the one who is the scribe of all time, that writes all the literature pretty much that you find on the planet today, even though it's been remixed and borrowed and changed and distorted, but he's that being. Leonard Han, I am thankful for you all. The teaching has helped me so much, and yes, I'm ready for the documentary. Okay, yeah, all share the links. Don't just read and talk and sound good. You gotta elevate from just reading to action, yeah, to helping, to being a change, you know, as well. So each one reach one, each one teach one. All right, but yeah, we do appreciate, love you guys, because without you, we wouldn't be doing this. Okay, let me see the next question. Dorinda Shelton. Greetings, I am grateful. How do I explain to my family that the Quran and Bible are expired? I've been Buddhist all my life and not sure as to how I can prove it. I'm sharing. Well, it has expired because how you can prove is tell them to tell you anything in the Quran or the Bible that is existing today,
Right.
like the internet, like smartphones, like blockchain, you know, all those, like everything that was done in the Bible, people have done. Walking on water, it's alchemy, you know. You got magicians, David Blaine and Chris, what's the other guy? Chris something? Angel,
Oh,
Chris
yeah,
Angel.
Chris Angel, yeah,
These
yeah,
guys have done what you would have considered miracles in the Bible, so it has expired. Immaculate Conception,
It needs updated.
there's nothing that is in those books that hasn't already been done. So when you say, how do I explain to them that it has expired? There's nothing new in them. They're the Book of the Dead. I think I did a video called the Book of the Dead, right? Yeah. Those are books filled with dead people. A dead person can't change. So expiration means it's not really that useful to you anymore. You know, like when you go shopping and you get something, yeah, and you put it in the fridge and it's got an expiration date, and then you go back and like it's gone off.
Man's trying to scrape off the green.
It's true. Some people try. You know, you look at the apple, it's just rotten, and but they try to cut around it, and yeah, it's expired because it's no use. It can't help you in this day and time.
What has it done for us, like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam? What has it done for us as Africans?
Yeah.
Truthfully speaking, let's break it down. Hasn't done nothing
Other than damage our
Yeah.
mentality.
Cut us off from our ancestors. Cut us off from our creativity, our language, our identity.
Yeah, literally. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So being a Buddhist, obviously, that deals with discipline more than anything, which is good. Like temptations, abstaining, meditation, relaxation, treating people the way that you would like to be treated. So that's a step into the right direction into Wu-Sabat, because it's mainly about discipline, you know, desires and burning out those desires, because desires lead to suffering. So Buddhism, and if you look at the picture of the real Buddha, he's got
Peppercorn hairstyle, man.
yeah, what used to call them again?
Corn, was it?
What? There was a name, China bunks.
Oh yes, that's it.
They call them China bunks or something, but it's really African curl,
bunks, yeah.
African twist. All right, let's keep going. History repeats itself. First the Messiah, then the master teacher. Again, that's a statement by Maxim. It's not a question, but you know what you're calling Messiah. There are many, many Messiahs, and it's not that way around. It's first the master teacher, then the Messiah. I know what you're trying to say, but the word Messiah and all these names that people think are so great really just means anointed, and anybody can anoint or be anointed. So if you read A Master's Secret, number 3, series 3, it will tell you, yeah, who the master teacher really is. Big sister, Rahubat Musa Wuru Ashuk. Rahubat Ashuk to you too, Zamaltat. Hirura, Freedom Master Teacher, Dr. Malachi ZK, he's innocent, 100%. How can I chant? That's from Ubura. If you're not, yeah, we haven't actually mentioned it today. If you're not in our Telegram group, join the Telegram group, because a lot of times, newcomers, we've put a lot of information, not just me and Asaru, but all the student teachers have put information in that Telegram group, and you can go into the repository, you see all the media, the files, that, you know, audio that teach you how to chant and give you the chants and everything. So, you know, I remember one newcomer, we had to really commend him. He was like, I've just read through the entire chat and I'm up to date now, and there's like 4,000 messages. We were like, wow. You know what I mean? That alone means you've learned so much, because the Telegram answers questions continuously. Yeah, so when you say, how can I chant? it's taught to you and it's shown, and we have the videos, the audios, the actual text, everything that you need. All right. Azorignam, if I'm pronouncing that properly. Visions. Rahubat, my people. Does the master teacher go? Okay, we covered that already. Sam Smear. I'm remembering what came before the books, the earth, the breath, the silence, the ancestors. That's where I start from. Yeah, 100%. Black Barbie Queen. Hey guys, love listening to your program, but I must say, your volume is very low. It's even harder to hear when driving. Need more volume. Well, I guess we're gonna have to start shouting. Well, look how close I am to the mic. Oh, that's old. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Does Wu-Sabat animes have gods and goddesses, pantheons? Yeah, we are. We are the gods and goddesses. Every one of us. What is the best Islamic literature from Dr. York? Gosh, 360. If we can grab it.
Islam and Mosque.
360 questions to ask.
Sunni Orthodox.
Yeah. And actually, in fact, is that black one right there.
One there.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna show you because you asked. This one here.
Look at the size of that man.
Look at the size of
You know
this.
what I mean?
Wait, am I doing this right? Yeah. Look.
Jeez.
Look how thick that is. Let me see how many pages.
You know the master teacher don't play when it comes to like info, man.
There's over 1,000 pages on this. There's over 1,000 pages, right? And you can show that one as well if you want.
360 questions to ask a Sunni Orthodox Qadar.
Yeah. Good luck if you can get hold of them though, because these are classics and very, very rare.
Dub plates.
Very hard to get hold of. But to answer your question, but remember, those have expired. Islam has expired.
I've got Islam and Mosque. You got Islam and Mosque?
I don't think I've got that there. Do you know, there's a book I'm actually looking for. One of my books that I used to have. Because this, who asked the question? They've just reminded me. Yeah, this was grind mode. Hoops. Peace. What is the best Islamic literature from Dr. York? Right, we've just given you that. The degree of Mohammedanism covers everything you would ever want to know about Islam. And yeah, there's a book I'm looking for personally. I used to have it. You know, we lose a lot of books. That's why most people that are smart don't lend out their books. But sometimes you really believe that person's going to give you. You shouldn't believe, you should actually know. And then you lend it and then it doesn't come back. But what I get comfort in is that the master said that that book is going to travel and help and wake other people. Yeah. So wherever it's gone, it's doing its works and doing its traveling. So for those of you who have lost books, you know, be reassured that it's helping. But yeah, I'm looking for a book called Secret Societies on Mars. Oh, yeah. I used to have it. I don't have it anymore. So if anyone's got it, I'll make you a decent offer. All right, let's keep going. So that was that one. Right, who's next? James Madahan. Internet cable is underground on the oceans, not flying satellite. Yeah, there are many. Yeah, they've got a lot of connections underwater as well as the satellite one. So yes, that's correct. I don't see a question, but that's correct. The soul is an atom in the brain. Right, any other questions? Yeah, we're just reminding people that they can film themselves asking 3 questions and send them to us via osmvision.wetransfer.com and we get your questions answered. And make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. You know, we are at 100K, right? The next stop is 1 million.
Right.
1 million. So, yeah, let's do it. Where can we buy the scrolls? Yeah, the website's been posted. Okay, we covered that. Today your volume is too low. Oh, we covered that.
Cover that one. I'm trying to get healthy. Would you recommend the science of health?
Yeah, the masters put out purity and neatness, the mind, your potential. Um, the Dr. Sebi diet is good. I'm trying to find questions. I'm not seeing. I'm doomed to repeat this world because I like. Am I doomed to repeat this world because I like meat? Well, we like a lot of things, but are they good for you? That's the question. And if you wanna, if you can't get past 6 ether, so you can't. If you want to remain under that, then yes, you can keep eating meat. But yeah, you can't travel. The master has said you can't travel to the other realms as a meat eater. Hirura. Appreciate love your donation. Thank you. Freedom Master Teacher Dr. Malachi ZK York. 100%. You know, we can't say that enough. But you know what? Honestly, people, I don't want it to become a cliche where everyone just says, Freedom Master Teacher. That's it. You got to put action behind that as well. You know, we've got, you can do something. So much you can do to help. And that's why we say connect with us. And there's a link under that website that was posted. If you just put / how can I help, you know, you'll go to that page. So it's unitedsabiansworldwide.com / how I can help. How did I say that? I said it wrong. How can I help? But just put dashes in between those words after you go to unitedsabiansworldwide.com / how can I help. All right. You might probably be able to Google it anyway. So Miss TBJ, appreciate love your donation. Thank you. We really do appreciate love all your support, everyone, for watching the videos, liking, sharing, commenting. It all helps the algorithm push us further. Is that a new question that says
That new star?
No, the one that says how can I prepare for 2030? What will happen by the year 2030 and how should I prepare? We tell people this all the time. Remember, the master teacher has always kept us ahead of the game with the books. You know, we can go back to like
tablets,
like I just said, Secret Societies on Mars, the Luciferian Conspiracy, the Millennium Book, the year 2000 and what to expect. What else? So many. A Man from Planet Risk.
New ones, Akasha Record.
Akasha Record. Many updates telling us how to prepare and what to do. The first one is to come together in love and unity and free him, and then work together in communities, chant together, do many things together which help us heal each other and do many things. Okay, so people that keep asking, come home.
Yeah, just think if we came together, how much things we could get accomplished and achieve. You know, the more we come together, the less work. You know?
Okay, I got another question. I have to follow up. Just another question. Are there any communities in Botswana? Thank you all so much. Love and peace to you all. Ashok. Sorry if spelling is wrong. That's fine.
Is that invite? That might be invite.
Yeah, people always say this, but we don't get the invites. But this is what Saru was just saying. Like, there's so much work to be done. We've got to open up communities all over, and there are new stores that are being opened in Africa. I know of Ethiopia, definitely, and there's others that will all be available on the website. If you go to about or contact and look at the stores, you see the worldwide locations. But I'm not sure if there's anything in Botswana at the moment, but that just shows you that that's a big opportunity, you know, because the future is Wu-Sabat.
Right.
So, you know, this is what you should spend your life doing. Literally, like, you can do any activity, you know, to do with Wu-Sabat, because you will be successful, because that's what everyone's going to want, truth.
Right, true facts.
What I covered already. Have you heard of Urantia Papers? What are your thoughts on the Urantia Papers? The book with over 2,000 pages of information. People, I don't know, sometimes I wonder if people just say these things to get advertising. Because we keep saying that we don't talk or like defend things that other people are talking about, because you have to go and ask them to prove and talk about just the same way we are available 24 hours a day. Yeah, see, I've just Googled it. Someone's just,
some religious thing.
yeah, trying to promote, yeah, some philosophy thing.
We're about defending Wu-Sabat, our culture, our science, our way of life.
Yeah.
Nothing else, mate.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I think that's a plug. People, yeah, I'm going to be looking, anyone who's trying to promote their books and stuff, this is Wu-Sabat. Because those people don't make themselves available to be questioned and scrutinized like we do. And it's unfair for us to do their work for them. Let's keep going, unless you found any that you want to cover. You have to forgive us if we miss your question. Sometimes you may just have to ask it again, because sometimes it just goes quickly and we lose it. All right, let's look at TBJ. Is that an old one as well? Something about noise cancelling. Okay. There's a question from RB London, LDN. Is Amun the hidden one more significant than Malachi in terms of the years ahead? No, because Malachi is known as Melchizedek, which is the ancient one. Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely, Malachi is Malachi Zadok, or Melchizedek, who is the king. In the Bible is referred to as the king. And Amun is a part of a triad. Remember that when you say Amun, the triad is Amun, right? Atun and Atum. And they are part of the triad of Re. Now, Re represents that Ptah, or the life, the force, that the center, or what we say al-Qut. So really, when you're saying is Amun more significant, no, because they belong to the order of Re, and Re is just dealing with ancient Egypt. But prior to Re, in terms of the being that we know as Ptah, because when we say Re, it's a symbolic, even though you got people that are named after nature and incidents, Re is that the life force, okay? But yeah, so no, Amun would not be more significant than Malachi when you know who Malachi really is in terms of his other titles. Yeah, Malachi kind of relates to the biblical, as in the last book of the Bible. Malachi come in with the sun, or the son of righteousness, as I was tying it into the sun. But really, when you look at Parna Babylonian, you're looking at Ptah. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Wow, is that the time already? All right, we still got like 35 minutes left. So if you haven't got your question in, remember you can ring up as well. just hit that. TNT artistic movement. Last question. I know someone that just knows things the moment it's slightly explained to him. For example, any topic you guys speak of, it takes a few seconds for him to get it. What does that mean? That's very broad. I mean, they've studied well, have a lot of information, the ability to recall information. Yeah, I mean,
could be genetics in it.
There's a lot that means. Yeah, it takes a few seconds for him to get it. What does that mean? He's smart.
Able to assimilate.
Yeah. Greetings from Oklahoma. I have stopped eating flesh, but being Native American, I find little support being as Native generally used and ate buffalo or fish as well as farming what I can eat. Yeah, it's a journey for everyone, for all of us. And yeah, I remember my family when they thought I was losing it. Like, for some people, they've been eating meat all their life to the point where it's like, if you say I don't eat meat, they're just like, are you crazy? Are you all right? What's wrong with you? So it just takes time and adjustment, but stick to it. And as we say, you know, it takes time because you can even get sick if you just cut off. You got to wean yourself off because your body's used to certain, you know, nutrients and stuff from that. So it takes a while to adjust. And if you ever find that you slip, you know, we're not religious people where you're condemned and you're going to hell. You just have to gather yourself and try again and just keep going and just make sure that you can cleanse yourself as much as possible as well. What? Okay. I was just looking at Philmon Modibidi, if I'm pronouncing that properly. Rahubat. The big sister again, Rahubat Musa. The argument with a lot of millennials is that we are not African but Indian, because I know the right knowledge. I know we are of the Nagaru, Salau, but how can I prove it to them? Tell them to look at the Indians' hair and study why we have what they call nappy hair or kingly, or we say kingly hair. We're the only people on the planet with that unique feature, and no one else does. And then when you start to break it down in terms of when you're looking at proteins and what came first and why they have straight 6 ether fur. So, yeah. So although they have dark skin, they have farah. Yeah, not wabar. So, but the scientists have proven this. Tell them about the Homo naledi and Homo habilis, and that the Denisovan deals with the Asian and the Homo florensis. So, you know, millennials should be smart enough to use a smartphone and Google and research things. And yeah, tell them to search what has been discovered and proven, like I just mentioned, you know, by anthropologists, and things like proteins and what's more potent. I mentioned the 9 ether hair. All right, let's keep going. We've got another call. And any books on how to connect, link to the ancestors? Yeah, we cover this. Like I said, we give out the information already in the Telegram group, and many other scrolls. 30 spirits, soul, spirit. Those all go into how you connect with your ancestors. You know, what is the origin of college fraternity and sorority, and is it a good to join? Yes, the origins is from ancient Egypt with the different schools, but they've again distorted many things and introduced paganistic and all kinds of bloodlusting things into these fraternities and sororities, but the original fraternities and sororities are good in terms of when you're dealing with our culture, you see. So you got to be very clear and careful of which ones you're getting involved with. This is why we say to people, come close and be a part of the family.
Right.
Okay, anything you found, Asaru, that you want to cover?
Does this Perma scroll still exist?
Yeah. Just can you find it though?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. All the scrolls exist.
That's real.
You just gotta find them. That's why we say build your library. You know, make sure that when you see the scrolls, get your copy, because after they go, they become collector's items. Jabilo Rahubat Karadu of Tamaray. What were our ancestors Amun, Atum, and Atun made of? And where did they exist prior to creation of this current reality? Everything that exists is made up of the elements in its environment. So these are beings just like we manifest and come here physically, but we're not just composed of the elements or the physical world, because we have an etheric counterpart, an etheric body. We have a soul. These are, beings that can travel or exist outside people, places, and things, including your mental. So, these are real people that walked, talked, had families, and had children. Yeah, but you do have them as elemental beings, or beings that manifest here from what people call the unknown or the unseen. But they're people just like you. So when you say where did they exist prior to the creation of this current reality, you would exist in the higher realms. You only need the physical body in this lower realm of physical or the material world, because you were existing as ether in the etheric realm, and as gases, if you want to really go there as well.
Conscious gas.
Conscious gases, yep. Who's next? Poetress. Yeah, I'm. That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I had to just read it so that we know, because like I said, people are sometimes asking questions just to promote or try and distract and take us away from Wu-Sabat. And yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the Matakite in Maori culture. Do you know anything about them? Matakite in Maori culture. Now we'll have to pass on that one. I'll do some research though and come back on that. But make sure you're in the Telegram group. There may be somebody else that knows more about that and how it relates to Wu-Sabat, if it does at all. Yeah, we're really trying to we're trying to build a Wu-Sabat film studio so that we can give you more content and have a multi-purpose environment to do many things. So we need your assistance to help us build that. So please do your best. Buy our staff a coffee. Me and Asar only drink herbal tea though.
That's it.
So we leave the coffee to King. Right, what's next? I can't read. I don't. Can you, Poetress, can you let us know what, it seems like some kind of South American or tongue, but yeah, sorry, I can't read what you're saying. Rahubat Karadu, okay. Covered already. What's next? We've got like Yeah, still got about 25 minutes left. Much love from Delaware. That's Sonny L. Rahubat. Oh, no BS. I like that. I like your name. No BS. Top 5 comparables. He says, Rahubat, thank you, Saken. Yeah. Antak Atir Afworth, your Mel. Okay, let's keep going. These days, apples don't rot. Yeah, that's because they're GMO. But good question, good point, Sami Abdullah. Yeah, those are all GMO, so you gotta be careful. I asked somebody today, how do they grow those oranges without any seeds? And they said, I don't know. It's all genetically modified stuff, man.
But even the name in it, genetically modified, that's telling you if you eat genetically modified food, it's going to mess up with your genetics as well.
Where poetry says, I thought you said you can speak our tongue. What tongue is that? Oh, mate, I was having a conversation with someone else. Okay, I thought it was me. Okay, big sister again. Rahubat, I heard you mention the birthmark. Why is it green in most cases, and what exactly is it, a birthmark? No, I didn't say birthmark. I was saying that children are born with the green patches on their body because we originally were green.
Yeah.
And when you start to read the scroll, the Melaninite children, it goes into more detail about, we being likened to rusting. This is why we're now brown instead of green, because of
the magnesium being replaced with the iron.
The magnesium being, replaced with the iron. And iron, if you think about metals, it rust. We have a lot of metals in our body when we start to breathe and take in what they call ions or nanoparticles, that a lot of these chemtrails and everything that's being sprayed in the atmosphere. So, yeah. Oh, that's an excellent question, Sonny L. Question, why do we get goosebumps and why do we yawn? Is there a spiritual reason behind it? Yes, the reason you get goosebumps is to do with your heart. It's like, when you sneeze and you get goosebumps, is because your heart stops for that specific moment, and that the blood that is being pumped around your body, because remember that you get oxygen to the brain, and the blood is part of the circulation. So yeah, that's why your heart stops for that moment. This is why people used to say bless you, because it was believed that you died and came back to life, even though it was only momentarily. It's like when you sneeze, your heart stops.
Literally stopped, isn't it?
Yeah, but we know that you can still be alive without your heart as well, because your brain is still alive. So that's where that comes from. And the yawning part, there's so many reasons to that. Exhaustion, tiredness, and lack of oxygen again to the brain. So, but you also have something known as involuntary and voluntary actions. So involuntary actions are things you do that you can't help and control. Like you blink. Yeah, if you look at people, like look how some people just be blinking every time they're talking. But yeah, that's one. What's another involuntary action?
Heartbeat.
Your heartbeat. So these are things that happen and are being done naturally without you having, you're not even aware it's going on, but you know it's going on, but it just happens. And voluntary actions are the ones you volunteer to do yourself.
Rock wind.
You're a funny guy. Did you not hear what he said? But sometimes that could be involuntary as well. He said past wind. Yeah, I had to expose you, man. Rahubat, this is Linky Nakuna, if I'm pronouncing that properly. Rahubat, is it part of natural nature for women to go through menopause? Has the master teacher written on the topic? If so, on which goal are there recommended herbs to take? Well, if you look at the word and break it down, it's like men on pause. So yeah, it is natural. However, the sisters, our sisters that teach, we have student teachers in the Telegram group that are feminine, our sacred feminine. They may be able to go into more details, but yeah, it's a part of the natural. What's the word when you're evolving? But yeah, the master has written on it, and the sisters will be able to probably give you more information. Yeah, just like there are things that take place in your evolution as a feminine, just like the male as well, where it's a natural process. But yeah, in terms of how you control it, how you manage it, yes, there are herbs and things like that. It's just like even the menstrual cycle. It's something natural, but some have really bad ones and others don't, because they've learned that, for example, they may be deficient in certain minerals and vitamins and stuff, and they may not be taking care of themselves and the diet and things like that. So when you do, you find that it's more manageable or controlled. And there are people who are literally in so much pain with the cramps and everything that they can't even go out when they're on their menstrual cycle. So it's knowing the right things to do. So again, these are the types of questions that the sacred feminine will be able to elaborate, because they obviously have the experience where we don't. So yeah, join the Telegram group and ask the feminine student teachers. TNT artistic movement. Last question, guys. A friend of mine knows everything you guys talk about. The only a few seconds into you guys explaining, does that mean anything? Yeah, I mean, that's such a broad and vague question. It's the same one like the one before. Are they Nwapian? Are they Sabian? Have they been studying and reading the master's books, watching his videos, studying? Because the thing is, this information, there's a lot of information that we talk about publicly, and there's information we don't talk about or go into, because you have to come in and be a part of the family. So this information the master has been teaching from the 60s, and other people are now regurgitating it or teaching it. And if you don't know the source, you will think they're the ones with the information, so we always make sure that the master's pictures behind us, where his presence is known, and that he's the source of the information. So yeah, a lot of people can regurgitate information and don't give him any recognition or props. So I don't know, this person you're saying, what does it mean? Well, is it helping? Are they teaching? Are they sharing that information with other people? Because there's also a lot of ego involved with when people have knowledge, because it's just about, I'm not saying that person is, I'm just, because there's no real kind of like reference as to what you're talking about, I'm just giving information so everyone else can benefit. It's about doing the works. Are you helping? All right. Rico Santos. Rahubat, this is a funny one. Rahubat, my brothers, please tell us the Pope is now dead. Dead, I would say that was meant to say. Will there come a brown colored Pope? And because he is a 9 ether, is there a change? He will see the light and will tell the truth. Man, don't hold your breath for that one. Seriously, do not hold your breath. That whole Pope thing is it's funny, because we already explained what it represents.
If you guys think like the Pope's never gonna come out and tell the truth, nah, they're setting up people for their overlords. Food for the gods.
Yeah. And don't think because it's going to be in a brown skin that it makes any difference. You do have, there's a book called Are They Black Devils? Yeah? Yeah, I see it up there. Look, here it is up there. Right? There's a book called Are They Black Devils? So they will put people in place and use people to help the agenda. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so the master, can you see it? Yeah, that book came out a long time ago. So we're saying, don't believe the hype.
Yep.
And to be let in that world, if, as you say, is there a change he will see? Which this is another one of those questions that is just taking us right back into religion and trying to go back into the spell. So yeah, we are we're not even interested in all of that. But what is funny is, nah, I don't. I'll leave it alone. Right, you know he has a Pope mobile that's bulletproof, but he should be looking forward to being with God, right?
Isn't it?
Because he's his right hand man, so his ticket to heaven is guaranteed, right?
He didn't want to go, man.
Yeah, because he had to go to hospital and all that, innit, and get all kinds of.
He was just dragging it along, man.
Treatments.
Dragging it.
But no, we're not being insensitive or empathetic. It's just that when you start to look at the whole, what they teach about him being like second to God and he can bless and he can do all of this, is like, why didn't God just make him better?
But who made him sick in the first place? If he's meant to be the,
Do you know what I mean?
the right man.
And we said about the bulletproof Pope mobile because obviously you don't want to die because, you know, yeah. But there is obviously a lot of things that are going to be happening as we build up to 2030 and beyond. So a lot of changes will take place.
And a lot of it is distraction as well from what's really happening.
Mr. Congus 3, what are your thoughts on some people that are channeling Pleiadians and according to some are preparing to visit the Earth? They're already here. And they're channeling Pleiadians because that relates to their ancestors and overlords, and they have their agenda too.
Yeah, Pleiadians ain't got nothing to do with us.
But channeling, you can channel anything, but what does that mean for us? We've already got our avatar.
That's right. Who
channels the Natharu and channels, you know, those that really matter. So we ain't concerned with the Pleiadians. What they're doing is, like they always do, is distort things and make you think that the Pleiadians are your friend and that they're here to help humanity and all of that. But it's a setup.
Yep.
Because they will betray you if you're not of their seed. Of course, there are agreeable and disagreeable in every species, but we've been taught by Partner Babylon and the Master that there are a lot of those that they have a hidden agenda.
He didn't say trust the Pleiadians though. He said don't trust them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that we know they're agreeable and disagreeable in different species. So, but still, we got our own, right?
That's right.
So don't take the risk. Big sister again. I love what brother earlier said, because when I really sat down and began to read the Master's writings and heard him speak, I felt like, wow, I knew it. I had the DNA explosion. Yeah, this is what we're saying. We're not making this up because we've had it. Anyone who's ever been, you know what I mean, touched by the Master Teacher will give you their account, and you know, you can't make this up. Next question. Oh yeah, we covered already. The Pellman scroll. You know what? You've just reminded me. I lent mine to someone, and you know who it is. So if you've got it, return it, please. K7, I have my reminder on for the documentary. Exactly, 100%. That's how you got to do it. Don't miss it. Get your popcorn, whatever beverage you like, and be comfortable. That 27th is not far away.
Right, just round the corner.
Yeah. Okay, we got an explanation back from OSM Visions. Sorry, I didn't explain well. So the guy just literally knows all the topics the Master teaches, has never studied them, and is only discovering Wu-Sabat now. but it's like he already knows. I hear you, but he can't know everything the master teacher teaches, because there are many things that the master doesn't teach publicly, and there's so much that he's got yet to teach. But good for him if he's is he a part of Wu-Sabat now? Because you said he's just discovering it. So yeah, maybe he can become one of those teachers.
Yeah, bring him to class. Yeah,
he can be a teacher and help spread the word. Rahubat, Ricardo, Rahubat, Saken Asaru, Tawutat. Ben 10 Toes. That's funny. These names, man, Ben 10 Toes. Okay, some people have got 12, so, or 11. You know the little one growing on the side? Ben 10 Toes says, I share your video on don't eat meat and people still eat meat. What to do? Well, it's up to them, innit? You can't really force anyone to do anything. It's down to the person. You just got to do you. Recent studies say that cancer is caused by parasites in the body. Can you talk about that? And the master teacher takes. Yeah, because these parasites or nanoparticles are metals, ions that you put into your body by using things like microwaves, eating bad foods, breathing in these ions that over time build up in your body, and then they become cancerous because you're dealing with metals. That's why you go cleanse and get rid of certain parasites that are not good for you. Yeah, but yeah, you just said
recommending fasting.
Yeah. Thank you for answering. Okay, the indigenous. I thought it was something like that. New Zealand. Okay. Have you guys heard the noise that's coming out under the Panama Canal, and what do you think that is? No, I'm not close enough to hear it, but that's a joke. That's a joke. But yeah, the master kind of explained about, the interest that, the man of sin it has in that region, because those were the original, also to do with, Greenland and what's going on there. And that canal has its original land, like a part of the original landings for extraterrestrials, and how, there's a lot of interest in terms of when you start to look at the dynamics with the whole Russia and China and so forth. Like it's a good trade route as well. So there's a lot of politics involved. But as far as the noise, it relates to what we were saying about extraterrestrials. We need another mic next to Asaru. Asaru sits back. He doesn't come close to the mic.
Politics.
Yeah, there you go. What's the next question?
Nothing.
What happened when someone telling a story and you get the goosebumps phenomenon? Yeah, that's part of what we were talking about with the DNA explosion, and your body reacts chemically, biologically when you have these, like we said, these DNA explosions, or you hear something that touches you and it affects your body.
And it dealing with all sound, was it tone, sounds, and frequencies?
Sure. Also, sometimes there are. Do you ever not like? I don't know. They showed you this in the movie Ghost, I think it was, or Ghost Town. Yeah, where they say that when disembodied beings or beings that are passing, they might pass you, and then you sneeze, or you get that chill. So it could relate to that also. Because you said as opposed to sneezing, what happens when someone telling a story? Yes, it's just you react. It's like when you have a nocturnal emission. People are like, "What is a nocturnal emission?"
Hold on, what was he saying there? Was he saying like when someone says something and then someone sneezes?
No. He says, "What happens when someone's telling a story, and you get the goosebumps phenomena?"
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as opposed to sneezing, because I gave the example of the sneezing. But yeah, it's just sometimes when you know you do secrete and reactions of when you hear something, you get secretions or like actual liquids that in your brain and in your body as well, and it has a chain reaction. So you can hear that when I mention nocturnal emissions, it's like you could be sleeping and wake up, and you know this is what people call a wet dream, right? And you actually in your what you thought was a dream, you were actually physically connected or doing something. You heard about incubus and succubus and these types of entities that can affect you as well. But yeah, it's a chain reaction, a biological reaction, and chemicals that will secrete even when you're dealing with like your melanin and stuff like that. Sorry, not your melanin, your DNA. Yes, you can have a reaction just by hearing a tone. Asara was just saying that, you know, frequencies and vibrations will affect you. Yeah, just like when you hear music, it will affect you. When you hear, you know, stories, because people talking, that's a vibration, that's a frequency. Their voice is also an instrument. So when you hear
someone calling your name,
you hear the master's voice, he's got the 3 tones in one, that will affect you. Lily Clement, grand rising blessings, much love, and you said light, but we want darkness. Thank you though. Nati aha hapti. Goosebumps are a result of the body's armed suit. It's a defense mechanism. Yeah, it's like adrenaline as well for physical and non-physical beings. Okay, cool. Tawat for that addition. Muntat Amun Zahutwi. Keep up the good works, my good brothers. Thank you, Zamal. Rahubat. DB. Nupu is putting out great videos. Are they Wu-Sabat? Yes, they are. They are Wu-Sabat.
Petty.
Yeah. Our brother Petty doing his work. So big up to Petty and his crew. Join the official Wu-Sabat Telegram group. It's in the chat. Ben 10 toes again. Are we here to... Oh, I hope they're not 10 on each foot. Are we here to wake up the people and save ourselves? Are we here to get rich and worry about ourselves? We're here to save souls and, wake up the people.
Yep.
If you get rich on the way doing it,
it's all good.
It's all good, isn't it? Yeah, but no, it's about the souls. That's why we do this for free. You know, been doing this with the entire tribe and community. We're not the only ones, you know, New York, different places around the US and other countries, Barbados, Jamaica. We do classes and been doing this for over 50 years, 55 years. We don't pass any buckets around, like we don't have cash machines in the building like churches do now. I think they they do the contactless now, innit? You can't say, I forgot change today when you came to church.
They don't do that in church, do they?
They do. They got cash machines in churches. And they have, you know, the contact you touch, what they call it? Tap and they do.
That's just wrong, mate.
And they still have the envelopes as well. But no, I'm just saying that we've been doing this for free for years. And we're coming to the last minute.
We're about saving souls, man, in black and gold.
That's it. Okay, the last 3 questions, then we're done. How close is Wu-Sabat to Hermeticism? Yeah, Hermeticism, Hermes, Charles Magister, is our master teacher reincarnated as Tahuti. So when you say how close is it, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Because that's the Greek rendition.
That's it.
Yeah, so Yeah, we are the original. Nati ha Habti. The body is reaching. Okay. Okay, we got that ready. Okay, Abdul Qudus, the God's peace and love, my gods. Likewise to you. And the last question for the day, Rahubat Zamalu, Wu Musa. What are the origins of the Ogdoads and the Enneads, and is it part of our story? Yes, it is. Their origins is from the seas, from the water, as the frogs and the snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've run out of time to go into more detail. But yeah, they're definitely our ancestors, and so are the Enneads, and they're part of our story. Hakeem, you're funny. I'm not answering that. That's no, I'm not saying that. All right, we are at the end
of another beautiful session.
Ben Tento's. People are trying to quickly sneak in questions.
No sneaking in, man.
I was working right, and it's like everyone I see is under a spell. They keep saying good morning, and I don't like that word because there's nothing good. Yeah, that's why we say Rahubat instead.
Moon for the dead, man.
Oh, Ben says I say Grand Rising. Love. Ashok Taukum Moisar, thank you for coming and tuning in and spending time with us and making us laugh. And yeah, just look forward to seeing you again. Join the Telegram group. We'll be in the premiere of the documentary, and we hope to see you all there.
Share.
All right, what I do for now?
Woo!